Imagine for a moment, soaring through the sky in your plane, knowing that you're on a one-way journey. A journey from which you're not meant to return. A chilling thought, isn't it? During World War II, this was the reality for a group of men known as Kamikaze pilots. They were Japanese airmen, tasked with the harrowing mission of deliberately crashing their aircraft into enemy ships, turning themselves into human bombs. The stories of these pilots have been told and retold, often painting them as fanatics, willingly giving their lives for their country. But is this the complete picture? Welcome to History Time Machine. In today's journey through time, we will closely examine these pilots, stripping away the myths and misconceptions to reveal the heartbreaking truth about kamikaze pilots. You might ask, why are we covering this topic? It's because history is often more complex than the black and white versions we're taught. By exploring the real stories of these men, we can better understand the human cost of war, the pressures they were under, and the circumstances that led them to their fateful missions. So buckle up and join us as we dive into the past. Our exploration will lead us to some shocking revelations about the extreme pressures these young men faced, the crushing weight of cultural expectations, and the tragic end many met in the battles that shaped the course of the war. But let's start at the beginning. The Kamikaze Special Unit emerged out of desperation during World War II as Japan faced mounting losses. The military high command devised a strategy to turn the tide, assembling a special unit of pilots named after the Divine Wind, a typhoon that had saved Japan centuries earlier from a Mongol invasion. Recruitment tactics varied, with some volunteers driven by duty or the promise of glory, while others were conscripted with no choice. Shockingly young, these pilots were mostly in their late teens or early 20s and came from diverse backgrounds. Takejiro Onishi, a vice admiral in the Imperial Japanese Navy during World War II, advocated kamikaze tactics in a desperate attempt to turn the tide of the war. He believed that conventional naval tactics were ineffective against the technologically superior allies. Onishi thought suicide attacks using aircraft laden with explosives would severely damage Allied warships and create a psychological impact. Inspired by self-sacrifice in Japanese culture, he aimed to rally the people's determination. The influence of Bushido, the samurai code of honor, cannot be understated. This code, emphasizing loyalty, duty, and honor unto death, permeated Japanese society and played a significant role in the kamikaze program. It created a cultural context where the ultimate sacrifice was not just as an act of desperation, but as a path to eternal honor. Personal testimonies from pilots and their families paint a harrowing picture of the coercion and pressure they faced. Many spoke of their fear, their reluctance, and the unbearable weight of expectation placed on them by their superiors, families, and society at large. The Battle of Midway, fought in June 1942, was a significant naval clash in World War II. The United States surprised the Japanese fleet and successfully sank 4 enemy aircraft carriers, shifting the balance of power in the Pacific. This victory marked a turning point in the war, demonstrating the importance of code-breaking and carrier-based aviation while weakening Japan's naval strength. This was a major turning point, as it was after this battle that the kamikaze was established. The Battle of Okinawa, fought from April to June 1945, was a major conflict in World War II. The United States launched a large-scale amphibious assault to capture the island and establish a base for future operations. The Japanese defenders, utilizing fortifications and guerrilla tactics, fiercely resisted. Intense fighting, kamikaze attacks, and high casualties marked the battle. The U.S. emerged victorious, but at a significant cost of lives lost, including many civilians. The battle highlighted the challenges of invading Japan and influenced the decision to use atomic bombs, ultimately leading to Japan's surrender. As we continue our journey, we'll delve deeper into their personal experiences, uncovering the heartbreaking reality behind the kamikaze pilots. The Bandatai Squadron was formed on October 21, 1944, as part of the 4th Air Force of the Imperial Japanese Army Flying Squadron, stationed in the Philippines. It was among the initial units the Japanese Army Aviation Corps created for special attack missions. The squadron's primary strategy involved pilots flying the Type 99 twin-engine light bomber, which carried 800 kilograms of bombs to execute suicide attacks on enemy targets. However, something unique about the Bandatai Squadron was the way their leader approached their missions. The captain, understanding the value of human life, thought differently and sought to find a way to minimize the sacrifice of his team members. He requested the factory to change the design of the bomb on the aircraft, allowing the bombs to be dropped manually from the plane without endangering the lives of the squadron members. In the original design, the bomb was firmly attached to the aircraft and could not be removed. The exploits of the Bandatai Squadron were both awe-inspiring and heart-rending. They were involved in several major operations, demonstrating unquestionable bravery. However, it's crucial to remember that behind the tales of courage and sacrifice, young men were plucked from their lives and thrust into a war that demanded their lives. Many of these pilots wrote letters or poems before their final mission, expressing their fears, longing for their families, and sadness at the life they would never have a chance to live. These personal stories serve as a reminder of the true cost of war, extending far beyond the statistics and battle maps. The Bandatai Squadron's name, meaning branches full of cherry blossoms, symbolizes the fleeting beauty of life. Like cherry blossoms that bloom brightly and dissipate quickly, these pilots were expected to do the same, leaving a lasting impact on those who remember their bravery and sacrifice. Sasaki Yuji's story defies the common narrative of kamikaze pilots. As a member of the Bandatai Squadron, led by a commander who valued life, Sasaki found an opportunity to follow his convictions. Despite being trained for self-sacrifice, he chose a different path. Sasaki's remarkable tale of humanity, defiance, and survival against all odds is chronicled in his book, Immortal Special Attack Soldier. Sasaki flew on 9 missions as a kamikaze pilot, and astoundingly survived each one. His unwavering determination set him apart from the norm. His book, which sold over 200,000 copies in Japan, offers a rare first-hand account of the struggles and choices he faced in a culture that glorified death. Sasaki's story challenges assumptions about kamikaze pilots, revealing the complexities of human nature and the power of individual agency. It sheds light on his resilience, defiance, and the choices he made to prioritize survival. Sasaki's tale serves as a testament to the strength of the human spirit, reminding us that even in the darkest times, hope and the will to survive can prevail. After World War II, he went back to his hometown and lived peacefully. The kamikaze legend passed away in 2016 at age 92. The kamikaze program's human aspect is best understood through the personal communications left behind by these pilots. These letters reveal their inner turmoil, reflecting fear, reluctance, and desperation in young men torn between their will to live and their duty to their homeland. Notably, there were 2 versions of the death notes. While compelled to write statements expressing willingness to die for Imperial Japan's glory officially, private letters and correspondence unveiled their true sentiments. These pilots were not genuinely willing to sacrifice their lives, as their intimate messages conveyed. Additionally, the pilots' radio transmissions before crashing carried profound significance. In those fleeting moments, they expressed emotions, thoughts, and love for their families, yearning for peace and sorrow over their circumstances. These personal communications emphasize that kamikaze pilots were not faceless warriors, but individuals with families and connections. They would take methamphetamine, a military drug, before each mission, hoping to reduce the fear of facing death. They were caught in a war beyond their control, leaving a profound human cost. Takejiro Onishi, credited with creating the kamikaze strategy, felt this weight intensely. Overwhelmed by guilt for thousands of deaths and immeasurable suffering, he sought redemption through seppuku, a ritual suicide. Amidst the chaos of war, the personal communications left behind by kamikaze pilots stand as a powerful testament to their shared humanity. These heartfelt messages offer a glimpse into their internal struggles, the profound conflicts they faced, and the profound repercussions of their fateful decisions. They remind us of the deep impact of their actions and the profound human experiences that transcended the battlefield. The end of World War II brought about drastic changes in Japan, not least for the surviving kamikaze pilots. The heroes of yesterday found themselves turned into pariahs overnight as symbols of a painful past the country wanted to forget. After Japan's surrender, these men were abruptly shipped off to U.S. Army reform schools. These institutions were not places of education, but arenas of humiliation and intense indoctrination. Their American captors, viewing them through the lens of their attempted suicide missions, subjected them to a harsh regimen designed to re-educate them into the new post-war reality. In these reform schools, the surviving kamikaze pilots were not treated as veterans of war, but as disgraces needing correction. They were forced to confront their past actions, their beliefs, and the ideology that had driven them to become kamikaze pilots. Even after their release, their ordeal was far from over. They returned to a society that had moved on and was eager to forget the war and its horrors. Many of them found themselves ostracized, unable to find work due to their association with the Kamikaze program. Their reputations were tarnished, and they faced discrimination at every turn. For these men, the end of the war was not a return to normalcy, but the beginning of a new battle. A battle for acceptance, for redemption, and for finding a place in a society that had turned its back on them. Their stories are a reminder of the lingering human cost of war, long after the last shot has been fired and the peace treaties signed. The legacy of the Kamikaze pilots continues to echo in contemporary media and cultural spaces. The Shirin Peace Museum in Kagoshima, Japan, for instance, is a place dedicated to remembering these pilots and shedding light on their lived experiences. For those interested in cinematic narratives, The Eternal Zero is a highly recommended film. It provides a gripping exploration of the life and choices of a kamikaze pilot, offering viewers a deeper understanding of this complicated and often misunderstood aspect of history. We've embarked on a journey today that took us beyond the traditional narratives of the kamikaze pilots. We delved into the story of Sasaki Yuji, the heartbreaking letters left behind by these pilots, the grim reality faced by surviving kamikaze pilots in the post-war era, and we've seen how their stories continue to resonate in contemporary media and cultural spaces. Our exploration of history reminds us that the stories we were told are often more complex than they seem. The truth, especially when it comes to war and sacrifice, is often heartbreaking, challenging our assumptions and perceptions. The story of the Kamikaze Special Unit reveals the complex and tragic nature of war, where young lives were sacrificed in a desperate attempt to change the course of events. It serves as a poignant reminder of the profound impact such tactics can have on individuals and their families, leaving behind a lasting legacy of sorrow and regret. This is History Time Machine, and we'll see you next time.